Hello and welcome to Break Panel Sports. I'm John, joined alongside Joel. I'm not joined alongside nobody this time. I know I had those college football episodes. If you want to go back and take a listen to my thoughts on the college football playoff decision
Yeah, you've
with
been running
Florida State.
solo, man.
We had to run solo because, I don't know how much you know ball about college football, Joel.
I dabble in the
You
college,
dabble? We
I
dabble.
dabble a little bit in it.
Real quick, obviously this is a basketball episode, Joel. Florida State or Alabama?
Bama.
Okay, you go Bama. So you agree. So it basically would have just been me talking to myself anyway.
I didn't really have an issue with it.
Yeah, didn't have an issue. But if you want to hear my thoughts on it, I think Florida State got hosed, but it's also the right call. It makes sense. Just listen. Okay, just go. After this, obviously, we got content coming out. But today we got some basketball. We got some NBA. We haven't talked about the NBA in a while, Joel. The standings haven't really shifted too much since the last time we talked some ball. It's been it's not a boring season. It's a very entertaining season so far. But we'll talk about the teams that have been hot, teams that have been cold. But we're going to talk about the newest addition to the basketball season, the in-season tournament, and the bracket. We got it. We are actually going to have teams get eliminated, teams play, teams go crazy. We got.
I actually think there's a game going on. I think there's a game going on right now as we're recording this, isn't there?
It is currently 7:24, and we've got the Bucks and the Knicks playing tonight. The Pacers, Celtics playing tonight, and they're all
yeah. Knicks is tomorrow.
Knicks is tomorrow. Why does it say today on the official NBA.com in-season tournament? This is crazy.
It doesn't say Tuesday because tonight.
I thought it was Tuesday. I thought it was Tuesday.
No, today's Monday.
I thought, you know what? We're going to, real quick, Joel. First off, I just want to hear your thoughts on the in-season tournament as a whole. I'm going to look up what is happening in this stratosphere here.
Honestly, I feel like I would look at this a different way if the Knicks weren't in it.
That's
because I'm a Knicks fan and the Knicks are in it. I'm like, oh wow, that's kind of cool. Oh my god, the Knicks made a tourney. That's all right. That's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And it's like, if they didn't make it, it's like, all right, who cares? I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me at all.
Yeah, because forget the in-season tournament.
Yeah, because it's like at the end of the day, it's like, all right, well, Boston's probably gonna win, or I don't know, like one of these big teams, maybe the Lakers. I don't know, they're probably gonna win. That's what you would go with. But it's like you see some teams that you weren't really expecting to make this sort of a run, like the Indiana Pacers. You know, who the hell saw the Indiana Pacers coming? They came out of nowhere. Nowhere. And when you look at a team like the Pacers, when you look at the regular season, like they're kind of like mid-ish, kind of. They're
not a super strong season. Yeah,
they're okay, but I wouldn't say they're anything like like a super team or whatever. In the in-season tournament, they're like what, undefeated?
Pretty much, yeah, something like that. They're the 2 seed. They're the 2 seed in the in-season tournament in the east side of the in-season tournament. So that's what we've got. Just to update you, by the way, it's Celtics Pacers tonight, Pelicans Kings as well. That's what we got tonight.
One of the things that kind of I don't want to say annoy me, but one of the things that the NBA is trying to experiment with and get rid of is when the point guard that's bringing up the ball, when when they roll the ball and it saves some time off the clock. With the in-season tournament, you eliminate that entirely, and the points matter. The point differentials matter, and you have to be scoring even if I think I saw it with the Knicks and Hornets game, where even though the Knicks were up by like 20 something, the Knicks were still saying, okay, we need to score as many points as we can because we got teams under us that we need to we need to make sure that we're ahead of them. And they just kept scoring and scoring and scoring. And it's like, okay, I understand the need for it, but at the same time, like it just feels weird to me. I don't know. It's just something about it where I'm like, okay, we're just playing 100% of the game. Okay, but do you feel like is that real basketball? Is that real basketball to you? I don't know. That's just weird to me.
It's basketball. I mean, I my thing is I don't want to complain about a lack of action.
No, I wouldn't say I'm complaining about a lack of action. It's more so just like if a team's up by 30, okay,
they're still playing to the final whistle. That's a problem.
But it's not that they're playing to the final whistle. It's why are the starters still in? Why are the
is that an injury concern for you? Is that an injury concern?
I feel like it would be an injury concern because let's say a player with injury history. I'm not naming names here, but like as a Celtics fan, if you had a player who was injury prone and you're up by like 40, why is one of your best players still in the game?
Right.
I don't understand why they're still playing.
Why do I need Porzingis? Why do I need
Yeah.
guys that are injury prone that maybe are originally on minutes restrictions at this point? Why are they having to play, not just play, but play hard?
They're playing hard.
They're playing hard, right? That would be my only concern with it. If injuries weren't a thing, I love this because you get guys playing the whole time. You're excited about it. It's soccer does this with aggregate, right? Yeah, and obviously goals are different than a layup in basketball, but it makes every point matter. It makes everything matter. Okay, the Celtics have this many points. They're winning by this much. Okay, it gives you a reason to care about the spread without betting on it, basically, which is something we need more of. So the Celtics, right? I think there was a game against Chicago where they were up by so much, and Billy Donovan's talking to Missoula. They're like, why? Because
he didn't get
fouling, it. Right? They don't understand. It's like, why are you fouling my guy? He's like, well, I need to do this for the spread. And it was like, and I loved it though because they were so serious. It was like, we found my guy. It was crazy, but I don't mind it. I think it's fun. I think it's good basketball, but I would worry about injuries. Yes, but I think if you see a lack of the last 6 minutes of the game being something where I can just not care. And if I'm up 20 in the fourth quarter, I can turn on the fourth quarter. It's like, oh, they're up 20. I'm not going to watch this game. But if the Celtics need to win by 26, then yeah, go for it. I think the NBA saw that with betting, right? The NBA saw, okay, people care about games more because they're worried about, the last
spread.
quarter and the spread. Okay, now people are betting regardless of this. So people are betting on it. Not only does it matter for our in-season tournament, but now people are betting on hard basketball. People are betting on basketball in the final 8 minutes where these guys are playing. There's more action and there's more encouragement. When there's more action, people are more likely to bet. That's also part of it as well. I mean, the more engagement, more betting, more everything. The NBA is trying to sell this to a media company to sponsor the in-season tournament. So this may be the Verizon in-season tournament at some point, or some, whoever wants to broadcast this. ESPN is going to pay more money because it worked well, and that's one of the ways they got to do it. It's one of the ways they got to do it. Maybe CBS and ESPN are going to be in a bidding war over in-season tournament games once the new media rights deal is coming, right? This is why they did it, and it's working. It's working really well.
I was gonna ask, like, when you're looking at the in-season tournament, is this something that you could see going on for the next? I mean, it's gonna happen next year. I think it's gonna happen again. But would you see this happening for like the next 10 years down the line?
I don't see why not. I mean, it's successful right now. It's bringing in more eyeballs. More people are saying that they're watching basketball, and whatever you got to do to bring more eyeballs. If this continues to trend in the right direction, I mean, I've enjoyed it. It's good basketball, and the courts, maybe they're a little too flashy. The new uniforms. I mean, they're making so much money.
Some of those courts gotta change, man. I'm sorry. Some of those courts.
I mean, it was just the style, and some teams got messed up with their colors because of the jersey. I think they made the jerseys first and then the courts second. That was the problem.
I forgot what game it was, but I believe it was the Chicago Bulls, and they were playing against like another red team, like the Blazers or the Heat or something like that. And it just looked like red on red, and the court is red.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, how is this like good for like people that are airing this like on television? It's gotta be messing with your eyes. That's crazy.
Red is tough to air as well. I mean, who knows what kind of situations you find yourself in with that. Again, the jerseys. I want to talk about the jerseys too, because most of these jerseys are pretty bad. Let's just be straight up about it. Especially, a lot of them looked better on the player on in game than they did when you see it on the Fanatic store. I just still can't believe Atlanta used Times New Roman on their font, which was ridiculous. God. But I don't want to say this felt rushed, this whole thing, but it felt like, okay, what's the easiest way we can just get this done? And they made very mediocre jerseys, not a lot of innovation. Yes, a lot of them are tied into culture. A lot of them are tied into the city. A lot of them are tied into what they're trying to do, what they're trying to sell you. But it led to, a bright blue, bright yellow Pacers jersey led to, you have to match the court with the jersey. So it led to a very ugly court.
Or somewhat of an alternate that you've got to account for other teams' jerseys, not so blending in.
So I think it'll be better because I think they were going to make the City Connects anyway, Nike, right? So they were like, okay, here's our jerseys, and then somebody said, what if we make courts to match with the in-season tournament? And then they had no choice but to match it with the jersey. So they kind of it led to some ugly decisions. But now I think next season when they understand, okay, we got to make a jersey for all the teams, and we have to make a court, and they factor both of that in, I think it'll look a little bit better,
I was
unless
gonna
if
say
Nike messes up yet again.
also, you like kind of what you got to keep in mind that this is the first year. This is an
Right.
experimental year. We've
Absolutely.
no, the players don't know what's going on. The coaches don't know what's going on. Some of the GMs really don't understand what's going on. Now
Right.
that we've done it, and now that once the tournament actually starts going on, like the actual bracket of it, we'll see like if this is something that everyone likes. It's cool.
Right.
In season, the trophy. Does the team that win it? Do they care?
Is there a
I feel
banner?
oh my god, because here's one of the things that I was suggesting. Let's just say like I don't know, like the Celtics win. Let's say the Celtics win the whole thing, right?
Right.
Is this gonna be like are we popping champagne in the locker room for this? Are we
I
like this
mean,
just seems
people
weird.
champagne gets popped in the locker room for much smaller
But
things than an
but,
in-season
but like you
tournament
see
would
what I
do.
mean?
I know
Like
what you're saying though. Yes.
are we
Are we
having a
celebrating?
parade over
Well, my thing is like we've talked about this before, and I compare it to college basketball, and we just saw the Thanksgiving tournaments and the battle for Atlantis and Jim Maui Invitational and all that. I mean, you play in a tournament with other college basketball teams. Yes, they're not hanging banners in Pinnerin Pavilion, the Pinnerin Pavilion in Villanova because they won the battle for Atlantis in Thanksgiving week and some mid-season tournament. They're not hanging a banner. They're not coming back to campus like, did you guys see what we won? It's more about we won these games rather than we won the tournament. I think
yeah.
the NBA Cup being there, it's cool. Here's a cup, here's a trophy, here's money. Again, the same thing happens in college basketball, but I'm not sitting there, you know, when the season comes down to it, and they're not saying, "Oh man, but they won this Jim Maui Invitational. We should put
Yeah,
them
like
in
who
the tournament."
cares?
They care that you beat UNC. They care that you beat whoever that was in that tournament. That's what we're going to care about. Okay, on this day they beat this team, not they won the in-season tournament. And the thing about I saw some people talking. They said, "Yeah, LeBron's got to care about this because he's got championships. This is like one of the last things he's got to do now. He's got to go win this in-season tournament." I'm like, he's just a competitor. But
Yeah, like who cares?
how does this affect LeBron's legacy? Is a
No,
question we ask about everything. It
I
doesn't.
already know. I already know if the Lakers win the in-season tournament with the GOAT debate, everyone's gonna be like, you know how many Michael Jordan has won?
Yeah,
0. You know LeBron
right.
James won?
That's
One.
what people were
Like,
saying. It was like, how many Eastern Conference MVPs does LeBron have, and how many does Jason Tatum have? Right.
you're right.
That was one of my
It's
favorite things as well.
so stupid.
But people, I mean, obviously, it's not serious. It's all just jokes. But it's. I think there are going to be some people that will say, "Well, LeBron just won the NBA Cup. I mean, it's tough competition, you know."
Yeah.
And some people are going to try to actually pull that. But let's just take a look at the bracket for fun. Why not? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so you got the Lakers taking on the Suns tonight. Or no, that's wrong. The Kings play the Pelicans tonight, but the Lakers
Yeah.
and the Suns will play tomorrow or
I
today.
will say,
I don't know when this is going out. I won't lie to you. This could be done by then.
I will say right now, when we're talking about the jerseys, the Pelicans got it right. Those jerseys are hard, man. Those are so good.
Oh yeah,
You saw the color scheme where they went with like the kind of undead, like New Orleans vibe of like the skeleton with the bones on
yeah.
the
The,
Pelicans. I
the
I
skeleton,
saw.
the skeleton featured on the shorts.
Is that what they're calling it?
I just saw
Because
a graphic.
I saw that jersey. They went with like a green and purple color
Yeah,
scheme. I was like, oh, this is fire. And
right,
even the court too. I was like, holy crap!
right.
Like but it feels like it's a different team rather than like any
Yes.
just typical regular season game. You know what I mean?
I don't think
It
that's
just
necessarily a bad thing either. I
no,
mean,
it's not. I don't think it is.
because like for every 25 misses that Nike had, they had a few hits, right? I mean, the Celtics
Right.
kept it simple. I like those jerseys. Again, I do love these New Orleans jerseys because
Is that the Valley or is that what it is?
the Val.
The
What's funny, the Suns and the Warriors do this all the time. They have the Valley, they have the Val. And how much are we going to shorten this? Are we going to keep going? I think the funniest Warrior jersey of all time is the Town.
the town.
The
That's
Town.
the
That's the
one I
Warrior jersey.
remember.
Now the jersey looks great. It's just weird that it says the Town on it. I understand that that's like what you call Oakland, all that, but I'm just we're the Town, man. We're gonna play basketball as the Town. Celtics Pacers just started. Bruce Brown made a free throw. If you had Bruce Brown first basket free throw, congratulations. I don't think anybody in the world did.
I
Um,
did.
So the Pacers are up 1-0 on the 2-0 on the Celtics. Bruce Brown is money from the free throw line. Lakers Suns. It's one game. I think the Lakers are going to win this game. They're pretty hot right now, and we're probably going to talk about them later. And the Suns, I don't know. I don't even know. It's just because it's weird, right? Because
it's one game.
It's one game.
If
Pacers can go win this whole thing.
That's when we're talking about the conversation of like, oh, what's harder to win, like the NFL playoffs or like the NBA playoffs? For me at least, it's like the NBA playoffs. You have to win 4 times you have to win 4 times.
Right.
If you win 4 times, you were clearly the better team.
Right. I don't care when it was. We've seen game 1 upsets plenty of times. I mean, there's one. DJ Augustine went for like 50 one time. Are we going
to the Magic? I remember that one.
Yeah, the Magic playing the Bucks or the Raptors, I think. And DJ Augustine just balls out. Did that justify the Magic advancing to the next round? No, they
like now the Magic are better.
It ended up becoming a gentleman's sweep, I believe. So yeah, you see that all the time. So I mean, one game, Lakers Suns.
I guess Suns.
It's in Los Angeles. I don't know. Is LeBron? How much does LeBron care about this? That's my question. How does LeBron?
Oh, it's at LA.
I mean, they're the 1 seed. I would imagine that'd be in LA.
If it's at LA, then I'd probably go with the Lakers.
I could be incorrect. I don't know how this works. It's very confusing. But Los Angeles, California, at the Staples Center. I still call it that.
Yes, Staples Center. Was it crypto.com or
Crypto.com Arena?
Hey, that's a disgusting name.
Celtics are down by 3. I'm in shambles.
Oh no.
Pelicans Kings. I want to pick the Pelicans just based off jerseys alone. I think we can agree on that.
Yeah, because the
Kings are a great team though.
There's not much you can go of like decrypting like how these teams are gonna win because like you said, it's just one game. Right, anything can happen.
Me picking the Clippers over the Pelicans in the playoff series is a lot different than me picking the Clippers over the Pelicans in one game. Same thing. Kings.
Yeah, who's to say the Pelicans can't win one game?
Right. Brandon
Ingram. That's not this game.
Brandon Ingram can drop a 50 bomb. It's also the nature. Like it's different with football because there's so much that goes into one game. With these guys, they play one game, then 2 days they got to play another game, and it goes on and on and on. Even the Oakland Athletics won to 40 something games this year. Like it just happens. But you know what? Let's just have some fun. Okay, we're gonna go Lakers. I think we're on board with the Pelicans because we like their jersey. Also, I think they're playing fairly well right now. And we'll see what Zion is able to do if he's really getting back out there at all. Not sure what his health is at this point. Brandon Ingram is a dog. CJ McCollum is really getting back to form. I like the Pelicans a lot this season, although I do love the Kings as well. I think that's going to be a really good game tonight. Bucks and the Knicks. Do you shock the world?
I will say, I'll point out here, the last time they faced each other, that was actually a close game.
It was.
That came down to the wire.
But do you shock the world against Giannis tonight?
Or tomorrow?
Tomorrow night. It's tonight when it gets uploaded.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Oh man. Honestly, I'm gonna go with the Knicks here. I think the Knicks. I think the Knicks I think the Knicks have a shot here. Now, in the next round, if the Knicks have to face Boston, I'm taking Boston.
I think the Pacers win tonight.
I think the Pacers could probably win. If it's the Pacers, then that's too close of a game to call if it's Pacers Knicks. That's the Obi Toppin revenge game right there.
Looks like it's in Indiana, right? So it's in Indiana. Halliburton's playing. I believe Porzingis is out. I'm going to go with the Pacers. I'm a Celtics fan, but Tyrese Halliburton has become one of my favorite players in the entire league.
He's nice as hell, man.
He's so good. I mean, he's just phenomenal. So I think this what I see happening, to be honest with you, I think the Pacers are going to win the whole thing because they got healthy at the right time. They're playing really well. And Tyrese Halliburton, this is why you have the tournament, because you have teams like the Indiana Pacers with young stars who can just go on hot streaks and send their teams on to good winning streaks. And the Pacers have a chance to come away with something this season, if that makes any sense, right? Mm-hmm. They can come away with the NBA Cup. Okay, yeah, you're probably not going to make the playoffs, or, if you do, you're going to be in the play-in and whatever, and Halliburton's got to put on a show. But hey, you won the NBA Cup. You get to, had some momentum heading into the rest of the season. I forget the rest of the bracket. I think the Pacers are going to win the in-season tournament. How about that?
I'm down with that. Like I said, because it's just one game. Anything could happen.
Right.
Hell, the Pelicans could end up winning, and everyone's gonna be like, "What? How did that happen?"
Right.
You
This
know what I mean?
Pelicans Pacers final matchup is going to feed families.
Oh my
It's going to
god!
happen. It's possible. Can we get the undead court yet again? No, it'll
No,
be the ugly Pacers. The fact that the ugliest jersey is probably going to win, has a chance to win the Indiana Pacers. That is just amazing. It's
you don't
exciting.
like the Indy? You don't like that?
It's just so bright. It's just so
It's
bright.
I kind of like it. It's like the blue with the black and the yellow outlining sort of thing.
I get it.
It's
It's
okay.
it's the Indiana racetrack. I get it. I understand it, but
I kind of get it.
it's a little much for me personally. But there are teams that didn't make the in-season tournament. So a lot of the top teams in their conferences didn't make it. I mean, the top three teams in the West, Timberwolves, Thunder, and Nuggets, all not in the in-season tournament. It's part of the bracket because all it takes is really a loss or two to get out of it. The Kings and Suns are the 4th and 5th seed respectively. The Lakers are the 7th seed. The Pelicans are the 8th seed. But those are the teams that are in the in-season tournament. That's what matters here, I guess. So yeah, let's talk about some of those teams though. Let's get into it. There's a lot of hot teams in the NBA right now. And I think the biggest one to mention for me right now obviously has to be the Minnesota Timberwolves, right?
Those Wolves, man, holy crap! They're
Anthony Edwards is playing at an MVP level. Karl Anthony Towns is kind of getting back to it. And the Rudy Gobert trade appears to be working out for the
I,
Minnesota Timberwolves.
now I've never said it on here. I don't think I've ever really said it on social media, but I remember saying to people that were talking about this trade last year, I said, now just keep in mind, that's all I'm saying. Keep in mind, Karl Anthony Towns was not healthy last year.
Right.
He was not healthy last year. We have not seen this team at their full potential. Just take a beat, give it some time. That's all I'm saying. Just give it
Has
some
he
time.
beaten
And
the soft allegations?
I don't think he's soft, man. I
Okay,
really don't
okay.
think I don't think he's soft. Man, I can't because I've never understood the hate for Rudy Gobert. Let me just get into that right now. I've
Go
never
for it.
understood the hate for him. Now, people want to say he's a goofy guy. He started COVID, all this nonsense. Okay,
Yes.
all this nonsense. The guy is a 3-time defensive player of the year.
Right.
Okay, he's arguably one of the best centers in the. He's one of the best defensive centers in the league. Let me be careful with my words here.
You can say it.
No, I think he's one of the best defensive centers in the entire league. I
Yeah.
look at Rudy Gobert and I'm like, okay, did the Wolves overpay for him? Yes,
You
I
had
think you
to.
could say,
You
yeah,
had no choice.
I think they did overpay for him. We could be fair and say that they overpaid for him. But when you look at the Twin City Towers here of Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, they play great together. They're actually
Right.
playing pretty good together. Karl Anthony Towns, he lacked defense before Rudy got there. So they say, okay, we'll help you out defensively. Would you be willing to move to the 4 so we can get a big in here that can block and has shown that he can, be that defensive anchor for us?
Right.
And we got guys like Anthony Edwards. We got, we got a good young core. We got some guys here that are hungry and want to win. That we're tired of losing here. We're trying to build something here in Minnesota, and I think that all started with this trade. If this trade had not had happened, the Minnesota I almost said Vikings, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they would not be the number 1 seed. They wouldn't even be considered for the playoffs. It would not be happening.
Right, but now they're at the top of the West. 2 teams that are really at the top of the West, the Thunder. We'll talk about them in a bit as well. I am a Nas Reed stan. I love Nas Reed.
Oh,
that
Nas
guy
Reed.
can ball. He's become such a meme. He's becoming one of those players that you think about in 5 years. Like, man, I remember Nas Reed. Where the heck did he go? He's going to stick around, Nas Reed. He can actually play at 23 points the other night.
He's good. Like
he's
like
good. I mean,
besides all the jokes and whatever, and like people saying that he's a future. On TikTok, he's a future slideshow candidate.
Yeah, the slideshows. Oh my god, the slideshows.
I mean?
Like I see, Ty Montgomery on there all the time. I mean, there's a lot of great basketball players you can go in there. Chandler Parsons robbed Houston, Texas, and robbed Memphis. Everybody.
But no,
Chase Budinger.
In all seriousness, though, I mean, Nas Reed. I'm looking at the whole team entirely. I'm like, this is a very good team.
They're deep.
Actually, like, and I don't. People want to say like, oh, it's Minnesota, they're frauds. I don't think so.
They're deep. They're deep in the centers and power forward spot. They're really deep. And Mike Conley is having a great year as well. He had 14 and 10, 5.
What's he like, 34?
Charlotte. Yeah, he's older, but he can always still play. He's a crafty veteran. No Anthony Edwards either night. But once he gets back in, I mean, it's great. Nikhil Alexander-Walker is a great young guy that came up, and they've got a solid squad over there in Minnesota. I don't know how they're going to fare when it comes to the actual playoffs, but we'll see where that all comes up. And I like them. I like them a lot. Another team that I love, and maybe I like even a bit more, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have really stepped up. And they who knows what's going to happen. We're just obviously when you talk about the Thunder, you have to put out there that you don't know what's going to happen to Josh Giddey within the next few weeks and the next few months. You have no idea, and we're just going to leave it at that. But right now, he's playing basketball for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's a talented player, and we hopefully that situation gets under control. But with the team they got right now, Chet Holmgren, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, they have the depth. They have such a deep team. I forgot Davis Bertans was on this team as well.
Oh my God,
shooting. They've got guards. Say, yeah.
Really quick question: who's your rookie of the year right now?
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. The rookie of the. I mean, I think when it comes down to it, I think Wemby's gonna end up surpassing, but it's very tough because Chet is playing out of his mind.
See, I'm one of those people that's gonna say I want Chet to win, but I think Wemby's gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, Chet's averaging just under 18 points a game with 8 rebounds and a couple blocks. So I mean, that pace,
everyone said he was gonna be a
bust,
bro. Oh my God.
All the guys that people said, oh my goodness, this guy's too skinny. This guy can't do this. This guy can't do that.
They're dominating the league right now.
Yeah. And Wembanyama, I mean, his numbers are much better. I forgot that Wemby's averaging just about 3 blocks a game. He's averaging just under 20 points a game, almost 20 and 10 with basically 3 blocks a game. I mean, he's playing phenomenally as well. I wish we could do another co-rookie of the year. That's what I need to see. Co-rookies of the year. Give it to Chet. Give it to Chet. Give it to Wembanyama. The Thunder, they're moving. They are very much moving in this Western Conference. I'm a fan. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't think my MVP accusations are really going to come to fruition at this point. I remember we did a hot take and I said he was going to win the MVP. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if
we'll see.
We'll see. I gotta check Shai's numbers really quick. Yeah, he's not averaging 30 like I said he was going to average. That's a miss by me. But
it's December.
It's December. Well, he's getting. Well, no, he's getting actually just under 30 points a game. He's getting 29.9 points.
There you go.
9 points a game, 6.3 assists, 2.5 steals a game, and 5.7 rebounds. Yeah, you know what? We're in. We're in.
Stand on that take.
Stand on it. It's probably going to go to the big men, but if Shai can keep up a 36 and 6 and a 2.5 steal average, I would.
You're cooking.
I would give it to him right now. Can we
Can
we get out the way? Can we just give it to him already so I can be right? Man, I was looking at the wrong numbers. I was looking at his career averages when I said the other
career.
Thing. I got mixed up. My eyes deceived me.
Hey, still, he's averaging 30 for a career.
No, he's averaging 21 points a game in his career. He's averaging 30 right now.
Oh, wow.
He's averaging 30 right now. He's averaging 30 points. 36, 6, and 2.5. If he averages 36, 6, and 3 steals a game, he's got to be at least top 3 in MVP voting.
Yeah, he would be top 3.
I mean, that's absurd. That's absurd. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I stand on business every time. For our final hot team here in this section right here that we have here, then we're going to talk about some cold teams. We have the Orlando Magic, my favorite song of all time. I mean, that thing is a banger. If you've been anything on the TikTok, they're playing this Orlando Magic, like old school, probably night. So good. And they are bumping along to the beat of
their own. They're cooking right now, man.
They're cooking. I think whoever made that song is probably cooking a bit harder, but these guys are moving. They are second in the Eastern Conference right now. They've taken down the Nuggets. They've taken down the Celtics. They've been beating good teams. They just lost to the Nets by 28, but I don't care. They are playing very well. Paolo Banchero is showing that he was deserving of the spot he was selected at. Franz Wagner is out here. Jalen Suggs has been getting a lot better. Anthony Black is playing solid. Cole Anthony is Cole Anthony. No, it's Wagner. They have a squad down in there in Orlando, and the magic of Disney is continuing to fuel these Orlando Magic, this squad. This is a team that's been building and building and building for a very long time, and Joel,
very long time.
The Magic are playing very well. I mean, they are just such a deep team. We're seeing deep teams win a lot more, and that's what's working. This team can, they got crafty guards that can create their own shots and they facilitate well. They've got some great forward depth. If only this team had Vucevic, but they're playing very well, Joel. The Orlando Magic are pretty good.
Honestly, like when I look at this team, like when I'm looking at the teams that are hot, I like to look at the teams that are frauds. I'm not saying the Orlando Magic are frauds or anything like that, but when I look at this team, could they make the play-in? Yeah. Could they make the playoffs? Sure. Do I see them doing anything after that? Not really.
No, because they're young, and this is going to be their these players is going to be their real first taste of playoff action. They need it, and I think if you give them a couple more years, maybe they go get a star. But Joel, I remember one time we were talking about James Harden trades.
I was just about to bring that up,
and you brought up a potential James Harden to the Magic trade, and I said that would be the worst decision in franchise history. They obviously didn't do it, and let's look at where the Clippers are. Oh yeah, they're barely in the play-in, and the Magic are the second team in the Eastern Conference. This is why I'm saying that the Magic should have done that and gotten a star, because they have
for the record,
Moncaro, and they're building a young team that's going to gel well together over the next couple of years.
The teams are in completely different situations.
Right.
First off, I'll say that the teams are in completely different situations. The Magic have depth. The Clippers really don't. They don't really have that much depth.
They traded away for James Harden.
Now, when I'm looking at the Magic, yes, I do still believe they could use a guy like James Harden or some sort of like perennial all-star type of guard, or I don't want to say a big man because their big men are actually pretty good. But I look at this team. Yeah, they're good. I think they're fine. I think they could win, some big games here and there. I just don't really see them going anywhere. That's pretty much it. I look at their young guys. First of all, I love Anthony Black. I remember watching one of his games when he was at Arkansas, I believe.
Yeah.
And dude was just lights. It was him. It was Nick Smith Jr. and I think it was like Jordan Walsh.
Yes.
I remember this because
that was a good team. They had a good team
because this was like March Madness when they beat Kansas.
You were like, you're all on that,
and I was like, oh my god, who's this guy with a big afro with a blonde? Like, I was like, oh, Anthony, this dude's fire. This dude's nice as hell. So yeah, I like a lot of their players. Even a guy like Jalen Suggs, who statistically, when you look at him, he's like, all right. But when you watch the hustle plays that this guy played, and I remember watching a few memes where like guys were saying like he plays every game like it's the NBA Finals. That's good.
That's a great thing.
That's good. I don't understand how like people were clowning him for it. This guy was on the brink of like being a bust. That's how bad he was playing. And yeah, show some effort. I got no issues with people showing effort when it comes to like a team that got nothing to lose,
None.
And I forgot who it was. I think it was Mo Wagner, where he said like, this rebuild it started like it started years ago. I saw an interview where like he said like it started years ago, and now we're all finally like starting to hit our stride. So now it's just kind of like, let's just ride this out and see where it takes us. We're going as far as we can with this team. And go ahead. It's okay.
So I mean, this team is going to be in the playoffs most likely, unless they falter completely.
I think they'll be in the play-in. I think they'll be in the play-in.
So they're going to fall all the way from the 2 down to the 7.
It's a long season.
It is a long season. They're up over 500 by quite a bit. And yeah, teams have fallen all the time. I think the Magic can keep on doing this though. They're not better than the Celtics, Bucks, or the Sixers, but I think they're right there. I think they're the 4th best team in the East right now. You could say the Knicks are better, maybe. Okay, if they end up getting at 5, that's a really good basketball team. And Joel, if you're a Knicks fan, are you confident that they're going to go beat the Orlando Magic in a playoff series? I wouldn't be so confident.
I think the Knicks could win in 6.
Right, but it would be a very tough series.
Yeah, but like being as unbiased as I can be, I do think the Knicks are better than the Magic. I'm gonna say that right now. I think the Knicks are better than the Magic. I agree. But can the Magic win a game or two? Yeah. I'll give it to them. Yeah,
the Magic have way better chemistry than the New York Knicks do right now. It feels like, especially with Julius Randle, and we give my thoughts on that all day. The Magic are just such because the thing about these guys, they've grown together. They've been bad together, and now they're hitting their stride together. And those are teams that can really be successful. I see the Cavaliers doing something similar later on in a year or two. I see the Nets kind of being one of these kind of Magic type teams. They're getting there. It's just going to take a while. I've been waiting for the Hawks to have a Magic like. I mean, they did for a bit, but it depends on how consistent can this team be.
Man, that team is just stuck, man. I'm
They're
sorry. That
stuck.
team.
But because the Hawks tried to speed run this, they ended up
Yeah.
trading as they trade for a guy like DeJounte Murray. They trade for other guys. They get rid of John Collins. They break up the core that got them to where they are. You just have to let that core develop. And the Magic have done that, and it's paying dividends. The Thunder did that, it's paying dividends. And the Timberwolves went the other way. They got Gobert. You can get like one guy. You just can't make a bunch of trades. It messes with the chemistry of your team.
You know what this sounds like to me? Even though like this is like a far extreme scenario, it's basically the Brooklyn Nets scenario. Like it's that Brooklyn Nets mentality where it's when forgot what year was it 2018 or something with the D'Angelo Russell Brooklyn Nets is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Like that team, like chemistry wise, was one of the best teams I've ever seen. Every single player on the team loved each other. They played great together. They were awesome. They weren't that great of a team, but they made the playoffs.
Yeah.
D'Angelo Russell was an all-star, and then they had a little bit of success, and then it was like, let's try to get Kyrie. Let's try to get Kevin Durant.
Right.
We had to trade for James Harden. Screw D'Angelo Russell. We'll get rid of him. We're gonna get all the best players now. And then they crumbled.
Yeah.
Because they just broke everyone up.
And the thing is, it's different this time because Paolo Banchero is better than anybody on that team ever was. So
I agree.
The Magic also can't really afford because they're a big, obviously it's an NBA franchise, but they play like a small market, right? So they're not going to go out and get Kevin Durant randomly. They're not going to do that. The Magic have never been that team. They've gotten rid of players like Shaq and all that, but they've never been that team to go, okay, let's go trade for Kyrie. Let's go, no, they stay put. They let their guys develop, and it's working for the Thunder. It's working for the Magic. Now it just depends, can it turn into a championship? That's what's going to be the question. And there are teams that have made these big time trades. There are teams that have been around for a while that are pretty bad right now. And obviously, we talked about the Clippers a little bit. James Harden, the big acquisition, it's not working. They're 9-10. They just beat the Warriors the other night. But the Clippers have not, they beat by 1. That was a great game, actually. And the Clippers have not, like the Magic have, and the Thunder have gelled well together. It hasn't really worked yet. I think those kind of trades, it takes about 15 to 20 games to really catch your flow.
You know what's sad though? You know how bad you have to be for, at least for me, to feel like Daniel Tice has actually made a better impact on this team than James Harden has.
Yeah.
I'm not even like that. That's not even like as of right now. What do you have, like 21 or something like that the other night? And he had like 10 boards.
The Warriors. He had a 12-4 game against the Warriors. James Harden put up 21, 9-5, but it was in a win. But then the Warriors beat them the other night before. And you got Daniel Tice. 10. He's a 10-point. He can score 10 points. Every. But
that's what I'm saying. Because like you didn't have to like break your back to get a Daniel Tice who's putting up productive numbers for you. You didn't have to go do that. You didn't have to go get rid of all your depth guys in order to get a Daniel Tice. You look at James Harden. I saw the video of when James Harden initially got to the Clippers and he was in the locker room. Did you see that video?
Terrence Mann's looking like, who is this guy? What?
No, because no one wants to see him there. It's like, man, like half the team is gone because of you.
Yeah, it's like, we got James. Also, Terrence is probably looking at him like, hey, I was supposed to be in that deal. Right? There's a chance I was going to be.
I would have wanted out. I would have wanted if you got this dude and you got a bunch of these old timers that are trying to have some sort of reunion to get one last championship. Dude, I'm out. I don't want to be here. I literally don't want to be here. I'm wasting my years here.
Yeah, Terrence Mann is supposed to be the young piece. Is going to be, I guess, quote unquote, the future of the Clippers at this point. He's that piece they're building around, and they kind of just blew up any possibility of a future. They had already done that by getting Paul George, by getting Kawhi Leonard, by giving up all their picks to the Thunder, and we see
Russell Westbrook,
right? They didn't have to give up too much, but they just kind of picked them up. But the amount of assets that they've given up to get players like, again, Paul George, Kawhi, and James Harden, I guess your quote unquote big three, it's not working. Steve Ballmer bought this team. He said, I want to make this a show. We want to be the big team in Los Angeles. We want to overtake the Lakers. I remember how well marketed the future Clippers-Lakers rivalry was going to be. And now it's looking terrible. And
it's not
the Clippers,
what rivalry.
The Clippers, I mean, these guys aren't getting any younger. They aren't getting any better. And
What rivalry? You guys are not even like I'm not a Lakers fan, but y'all are not even in the same league as the Lakers right now. You're not
not even
like
close.
I'm not even thinking about the Clippers. Like when we're talking about like championship contenders, playoff
I'm not
beast.
thinking about the
I'll look at
Clippers.
the Lakers. I'll look at the Celtics. I'm not thinking about
I'm not thinking
Clippers.
about no Clippers,
I'm
man.
not thinking about the Clippers. You guys, they're just like filler to
They're a
put in the playoffs.
playing team.
Yeah,
They're a
at
playing
best.
team. I will take basically anybody in the East. I'll take the top 6 teams in the East are going to be a better chance to win a championship than the Clippers, even with all the star power. But I see a very, very dark era for the Los Angeles Clippers, very, very close. Because once Kawhi, Paul George, James, I don't see them trading these guys at any point. They're
If they
not
were
going to
gonna
blow
do
it
it, they
up.
would have done it like 2 years ago.
They wouldn't have traded for James Harden if they planned on blowing this thing up like they should. And now they're going to be stuck with no assets. It's going to be bad.
That's gonna be bad.
They're going to be really, really bad. But a team that is not really bad, but they're not playing well. The Golden State Warriors, they've had their struggles. They've been out of Draymond for a bit. We just kind of talked about their little back to back with the Clippers. Draymond's back, and this team is kind of in a weird era when it comes to this championship run that they've been on. Klay Thompson hasn't been the same player. Steph Curry is still Steph Curry, but Draymond Green, these guys are getting older, and now they're starting to kind of show the age a little bit. They're not winning as many games, and the roster isn't really built in a way that can carry that.
No, you know what I hate about this whole situation is that I've seen some people on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, that
Yeah,
they are actually blaming Steve Kerr for this.
you just
I
can't
don't.
do that.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm
That
not
doesn't make any
blaming a what
because no, because
four-time
people were
NBA
saying
champion.
Steve Kerr, he's a fraud. He's this, he's that. I'm like, do you not see like does Steph Curry look 23 to you?
No,
Does Klay Thompson, does he look any younger to you? Does Draymond Green look like he even want to be there half the time? Does Chris Paul look any young? They traded one of their best young guards for a 39-year-old point guard or
yeah,
38, whatever he is. I mean, like, oh my God, like, how did you expect them to be? And it, oh my God, I saw, what was it? I think like I saw like statistically like one of their best young players, and I'm not even joking, was like Dario Saric.
yeah. Dario Saric has been playing for these guys. That's one of their.
I
He's not
couldn't
even
believe it.
young. He's not even really young anymore.
Is he like
Jonathan
28,
Kuminga is supposed to be
29 or
the
something
guy.
like
Yeah,
that?
he's been around the league for a while.
But I saw that and I was just like, there's just no way they fall into this.
Yeah,
Like just so, oh my God. and not only is it about the players that are getting older, the players who are at the young that you're expecting to develop, like Jonathan Kuminga or like Moses Moody, what's going on with them?
they haven't developed.
I haven't heard anything.
But
I
here's
haven't
the
heard
thing.
anything from them.
But if I'm a Warriors fan, like you have to have expected this at some point. It's very
Would you have?
rare. Yes, I mean it's very rare to be constantly pursuing a championship, constantly going at it, and expect to still have young players that are developing and keeping your team good for the long run, right? Maybe they could have done a better job drafting. I mean, whatever. But when you're picking 30th every year, when you're picking at the back end of the draft every year, it's very hard to keep that team good.
Here,
And yeah,
here's one of the things that I was thinking about, and like to get into like a serious note, because like we talk about like dynasties, okay?
yeah.
What's the greatest dynasty of all time? The Chicago Bulls. I don't even think that's even a question. You look at the Chicago Bulls,
In
right?
basketball, yes.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm talking about basketball
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
me. Wait, like, did you watch The Last Dance?
I did not actually. I never really got
Oh, you
around to it.
didn't.
I never got around.
Okay,
I
okay.
mean,
So
I've seen most
th-
of it through
this isn't
clips
really
on
much of
Twitter.
this isn't really much of a spoiler or anything like that. But
Yeah,
their general manager for the Chicago Bulls, I'm blanking on his name right now, but it's fine.
right.
So after they had won like their final championship, he basically had the mentality of, listen, none of these guys are getting any younger.
Right.
A lot of our, like, Scottie Pippen's getting really older. Jordan's getting older. I think it's time to start trading some of these guys. Because in the beginning of the year, he told them, listen, this is your final year here because we're going to either release you, trade you, whatever it is that we need to do. But we want to start the rebuild now because I'd rather have young guys that we can develop and have a few years of being ass than have you stay here and then just try to relive the glory days of whatever it is that you have left in you. I'm not here for that.
Right.
That's what I feel like the Warriors should have done.
Now, I'm not saying that rebuild worked out for the Bulls because the
Right.
Bulls had like a whole stretch of like being bad, but you have to draft well in order for that to happen. You have to do well
Exactly.
in free agency in order for that to happen. The Warriors, you had 2 lottery picks in Moses Moody and Jonathan Kaminga. You
Yeah.
look at guys like, Klay Thompson, who I'm not saying they should trade him or anything like that, but the injuries are a concern.
Yeah. And James
Draymond
Wiseman
Green,
was a huge miss as well. He was supposed to be a
oh
top
my
prospect.
God. I totally forgot about James Wiseman.
Yeah.
Like guys like that, like it's just you gotta know when to give up. Okay.
Right.
You gotta know when to give up. A lot of these older guys, I'm not saying you should trade Steph Curry,
Okay.
but the fact that you're not even like thinking about it, come on. I would at least just think about it.
I don't
Like,
know.
I'm not
I
saying to do it. I am not
I
saying to
would. I
trade
don't
Steph.
think they should even consider it. I
Well,
just.
where is this team going? That's what I'm saying. Where's
The
this
thing
team
is,
going?
I think
It's
when
getting
when
worse.
you're the Warriors, right? You are. It's not like they traded. The Bulls never traded Michael Jordan. Right?
No, but
They
they didn't
never
bring him
did that.
back.
Right? They didn't bring him back, but I mean, the end of this contract, I'd imagine Steph Curry is either not going to come back or retire. Um, we'll see how that goes, but. These guys mean so much to these fans. It's not like the Chicago Bulls that have the history and they've won 6 champions. They had the history and everything. The Warriors are so like this is the real first time the Warriors have had this. I mean, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Steph Curry is arguably the greatest point guard of all time. Klay Thompson is such a loved figure in Golden State. Draymond Green is such a loved figure by most Warrior fans that won you all these championships. You don't owe it to them in the slight. Like I guess in a way you could say you owe it to them, but when it comes to the business of basketball, if the Warriors want to go trade Draymond, if the Warriors want to go trade Steph, they can do it. There's nothing stopping them from doing it. But their fans would turn on them. It would ruin everything that they've built. It just kills the whole legacy of that team because at the end of it, oh, they traded them. They traded all these players
You
to try
got
to
4
rebuild.
rings out of it.
You
You
did,
got
but I mean,
4.
again, you mentioned the Chicago Bulls, right? They didn't do anything with any of the assets they got by trading that core.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like they should start something for it. I'm not, like I said, if they were to just say, we're keeping Steph Curry, that's perfectly fine.
Right.
I'm just saying, what's the point of having a Steph Curry if you're a 30-win team at best?
I mean, the value of Steph Curry drives up ticket prices a ton. You know that. Every time you try to go watch the Warriors play, I've watched.
Doesn't make no difference if you're not getting wins.
It does. It does for a franchise trying to make money and sell tickets. If the Warriors go through a very bad phase of not having Steph Curry and trading him to the Mavericks or whatever you want to do, I don't know. I just random team.
I don't even know where he would go.
Yeah, I don't even know what Minnesota. Go get Steph Curry. Why not?
The Knicks.
It just all the fans that have been around him for so. It's not like it's also not like the Warriors are awful. If they could get into the play-in, then Steph Curry should be there because if they can get in, they can do anything. They've done it. I mean, they've shown the Warriors have shown that they can be bad and then go win a championship the next year. They did that against the Celtics that year and to win ring number 4. So it's tough to just give up on this team because they've shown they could do it. And I mean, when you have the greatest player of all time, the Lakers aren't going to never trade a Magic Johnson, right? It didn't matter. Didn't matter. Lakers never traded Kobe. Right. It didn't matter how bad the Lakers got. It was okay. You've done so much for us. You are one of the greatest players in the history of basketball. We're keeping you around. I'm for trading Klay. I'm for trading Draymond. I can see it happening. But again, what does that do for Steph? What are you getting enough assets back in return where it's worth it to basically, in a way, betray your fans that have watched?
I think at that point
players?
you would have to see what Steph wants. Steph
Yeah.
wants.
Steph would want these guys around. He's won 4 championships with these guys. These are his friends, his best buddies. He wants to keep these guys around. They're still in a contention for a play-in spot. So until I see them as bad as the Spurs, I can't see them making any moves to trade away guys. I wouldn't do it personally.
Spurs, that's bad right now.
Yeah, they're really bad. I mean, do you know how? I mean, the amount of Klay Thompson jerseys that are in those stands, the amount of Draymond jerseys that have been bought for Warriors fans, you just kind of have to. It's one of those things you just have to ride out the dynasty. You have to ride it out because you need to let them go out into the sunset on their own terms. To me, you have to. The St. Louis Cardinals do all the time in baseball. Yes, it's maybe not be the best decision to bring back Albert Pujols and let Adam Wainwright, Yadier Molina do all that stuff. But what it does for the fans of the community that you've built for so many years, it's worth setting your franchise back just a year or two. Is it worth going from the 18th pick to the 9th pick to give up everything? To me, it's not. I don't see it. So I don't think you break up the core. I guess that's all you got.
No. Because I'm just like I understand what you're saying. It's just when I'm looking at like the team from like a business aspect.
No, I do that. I do that too. But
because that's the thing. I think it's just like you're looking at it from the fan
Yeah.
perspective. I'm looking at it from like the team perspective.
Yeah, I usually do look at it from a team perspective. This is just different. They've won 4 This is just different.
That's why I was just kind of like stumbled on words because it's like, it's not that I can't try to persuade you in the way that I'm like
Right.
trying to. It's just I see where you're going with it,
Right.
and it's like I respect that because from a fan perspective, yeah, if I was a, if I was a Knicks fan, if I was a Warriors fan,
Yeah.
and that just happened, like, just because they got a little older, yeah, I would be frustrated. But from the business side of things, it's like, oh no, we get more picks, we get this, we get that, we get young guys. Right. Okay, yeah, this makes sense. But
like
the fan won't think like that.
If the Giants traded Eli Manning to the Jaguars that year.
Which one?
The one where Daniel Jones started to get in, where Eli got banged up. There was talk that he would go to Jacksonville after that. That changes the legacy so much.
I was content with them like releasing him. I was content
like
letting him walk, letting him walk in free agency. I was content with that, but I know. Because I remember like that last year, Eli was saying like, I'm not going anywhere to be no backup.
Right.
I'm not going anywhere to be no backup. If I'm going somewhere, I'm starting there.
Right.
And he, that was not going to happen. Obviously, that was not going to happen. So that's why he ended up retiring. But it's a hard choice.
You want to let the players that have done so much for your franchise and brought the most positive moments of your franchise to let them do it on their own terms when they want to walk
it cause
away.
An uprise? Sure, I think it would. But like at the end of the day, would you want to get something for a guy instead of nothing?
I think if you ask a lot of Warriors fans, they don't care. They don't care whether they get an extra second round pick because they traded Draymond, because they maybe get a random lottery pick. Sure, if it turns into their next Hall of Famer, then okay, they made the right decision. But at the end of the day, the Warriors aren't drafting well. If you're not drafting well, no amount of picks is going to make you draft well. They have to be better as an organization in drafting well and building young pieces together. The Spurs did it for so long. The Spurs were a dominant dynasty, and they still drafted Kawhi. They traded up for Kawhi Leonard. So maybe they should have been a little bit more active in terms of draft trades and everything, and maybe traded down that pick they had from the Wiseman situation. But I just don't see it. I the only player I can see going is either Clay or Draymond just got brought back. I can see them trading Clay. I can see Clay being traded, but that's just about it.
I think like a year ago or something like that, I was predicting like a trade where it was like Clay going to the Bucks before they got Dame.
Yes, people were saying that all the time.
Now it's probably not going to happen. But like that's one of the teams that I was thinking about, or like the Miami Heat.
Yeah, but do you know how many years we've been talking about a potential Klay Thompson trade, potential Draymond trade?
Oh my God, I've been talking about a potential Klay Thompson trade. I'm 22 now. I think I've been talking about that since I was like 17,
and it hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened.
There's a reason it hasn't happened. One, they kept winning, but the other, there's like Klay means a little bit more than just a couple picks to the Warriors in terms of not just his basketball play, but what he means to the city, what he means. I mean, obviously they left their original city, but what he means to this franchise and everything. So yes, I'm usually on your side. I'm usually on the side of it's business. Who cares? But this team is going to have a last dance made about them one day.
Yeah.
A lot of teams that are in similar situations, they're not going to, right? I'm for the Clippers have to do whatever they can to get rid of all these players because, there's not that legacy. They win 8 championships. They're not owed anything. I will go back on what I said before. These guys are owed something. These guys are owed to be at the end of the season, have one final wave away to the crowd. Steph Curry's owed that. Klay Thompson and Draymond Green are owed that, to have one final goodbye to these fans that they've delivered 4 championships to. So I guess we only got through one cold team, but we got through 2. Okay.
We got. Well, say we got to two.
We got through 2. Third cold team. Okay, sure. The Atlanta Hawks, whatever.
We talked about the Hawks.
We talked a little bit about the
about
Hawks.
Yeah, a little bit.
The Hawks need to be better. Nets need to be better. Chicago Bulls, you are a dumpster fire.
Oh my God, the Bulls.
And I'm sure we'll have plenty of time. Yep.
I had a take about that a few weeks ago. I
A
said
while ago. Yeah, they're going to be really bad. You
I
said they
said
were going to
that-
be
I
the
said that-
worst team. I said not so fast, but they're getting there.
They're
The
getting
Pistons
there.
are 2-18 though. They
Oh my
are.
God. That's so
Oh, my
bad.
goodness.
The
I-
Detroit.
Thing is, I think the
That's
Wizards.
so bad.
I think the
Do you know
Wizards are
how-
worse.
But do you know how bad you have to be to have a former coach of the year?
Yep.
You have a first overall pick. You had 2 lottery picks, and oh no, sorry, 3. You had 3 lottery picks, and 4 Marvin Bagley.
Yeah.
You have 4 lottery or James Wiseman.
Where did Killian Hayes go?
Killian Hayes is on there.
Yeah.
like
But I'm saying, like, where
all
was he drafted?
do-
He was drafted pretty high for what he
7,
was.
6.
Yeah,
Do you
overall
realize
pick.
that majority of the lineup for the Detroit Pistons right now, they're all guys that were drafted like, I'm not talking just like first round. I'm talking like top 12.
High lottery? Yeah.
Like a lot of these guys were all drafted like very high up there.
Even
and-
Isaiah Stewart was drafted pretty. Jaden Ivey was what, the 4th overall pick?
Do you understand how
overall
bad
pick.
this team is? Do you understand how bad this team is? Okay, I'm just saying, you could call it a coach's decision or whatever. The fact that Killian Hayes is starting over Jaden Ivey, I think that says a lot more about Jaden Ivey than it does about Killian Hayes.
Yeah.
Because I'm just saying, there's no way that he is starting over you, and where it's like, oh my God, like I can't believe you, blah blah blah. I think there's a reason for that. I don't think Jaden Ivey is as good as we think he is.
Maybe not. These guys are still young, so there's plenty of time for them to get better.
It's a very young team. I will say that.
So
But just
the Pistons have really only gone the college route. Asar Thompson is like the first one that's really on this lineup that isn't direct college route. And this team's always been fun to watch because of, I guess Killian Hayes, but like they have so many, college basketball players that played for teams that usually don't produce a lot of good NBA talent. So it got interesting. Like Oklahoma State's not known for that, as far as I'm really concerned. Marcus Sasser is going to be interesting. He was a great player at Houston, but is he going to be, a star for the Detroit Pistons? I don't know. So they are cold beyond belief, but Break Panel Sports is red hot. We keep on moving. Joel, any final thoughts about the National Basketball Association?
Well, after we're done here, I'm gonna be watching the in-season tournament, so we're gonna see how that goes. Right now, if I had to make predictions, tonight's game is real quick. It's Pelicans, yes.
Pelicans Kings. The Celtics are up 55-48 at halftime. So my Pacers prediction is looking pretty bleak. But I'm happy with
I
my
think the
Celtics.
Pacers can come back. I think the
Give it a
Pacers
shot.
can come back, and
Give it a
I'm going
shot.
with the Pelicans. I'm going with the Pelicans tonight.
Why not? Let's have fun. Let's go with the Pelicans. Shout out New Orleans. It's a longer episode of Break Panel Sports, but I don't know if you're complaining. I apologize. I don't think you are though. Definitely a
ramble.
fun one. We do ramble, but I hope it's fun rambling. I think you know what I know it is. But yeah, don't worry. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Break Panel Sports. Here we got some basketball talk in. John joined alongside Joel. No longer joined alongside nobody. Am I? Glad to have you back, Joel.
Thank you.
For some basketball talk. But it's been fun. Make sure to listen to our previous episodes on this channel. We will see you another time.